Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we are starting another reading vlog. So this is going to be about a week and a half reading vlog because it was supposed to be 2 weeks and now it's Friday. No, it's Thursday. It's Thursday. So yeah, so it's more of a week and a half. I have just been in such a slump, and I knew this was going to happen because of the stupid Goodreads video. I knew it was going to happen. I did it anyway, and I'm now in a slump. And I haven't read anything in well, no, I read something yesterday, but other than that, it has been a while. Okay, that's actually lying. I'm reading a lot of fan fiction, which does not count for anything. And it's not even like just a reading slump, it's just a life slump in general. I've been watching a lot of TV now, but even that, I'm like now burnt out on watching TV shows. But I still don't want to go back to reading yet. But today, I am reading. I'm going to try and read an entire book. Well, nearly an entire book. I started it yesterday. Yesterday was Wednesday and Jade did 12-hour sprints, and I did not read much for being there for 12 hours, and I was there for basically the entire 12 hours. But I did start Dragonhaven by Robin Hobb, and I read 50 pages, which is not a lot. And so I'm going to try and finish this entire book today because I'm fed up of being in a slump, so I'm forcing myself out of it. And so Pris has some sprints on. She's like doing her planner and all of that. And I also need to do my journal, my January stuff. I already have like the start of the year stuff done, but I don't have like January done. So I'll also do that while I have the audiobook on, which they changed the narrator for the audiobook for the second book and I don't like them. I'm not sure will I actually end up watching most of the sprints, because if I stop, I will not pick it up again, because that's what happened yesterday. I forced myself to pick it up, put it on, and I did it for a whole sprint. I stopped to listen to the chatty bit, and then I may or may not have picked it up again after that. So it would be risky for me to stop. So once I start, I might just keep it on, don't stop under any circumstances. And also yesterday, Cassidy announced her book club, which I will leave her channel link down below and that announcement video, because I am a co-host for it, which is very exciting. So it was maybe a week ago or something, not even, a couple days ago, whatever. Cassidy sent me a message being like, hey, I'm starting a book club. Do you want to read the Untitled trilogy or whatever it's called? And I was like, I have no idea what it is, but yes. And then I realized it's the Bone Chips series. And I was like, oh, okay, I do actually know what that is. So, yeah. So, it's also, so the other co-hosts are Ro and Jade. And yeah, I'm really excited to do it. And so the first book is being read in February. So plenty of time for you to go find it. So that's all the news, really. I'm trying to think. So, what have I been watching and stuff? I rewatched Daredevil. And I have also watched season 3 of Ghosts, the BBC version, not the American version. Why do they need an American version? The BBC one is perfectly fine. And yeah, I really love that. I love that show. I can't find the Christmas special anywhere though, which is very annoying. And then I watched Wheel of Time, the entire first season. I just watched it in one day. And I don't know how I feel about it. My TBR is already up at this point, yes. So you know that I'm reading the first book, and now I'm kind of a bit nervous about it because I'm not sure how I feel about the show. And I know the book's obviously going to be different, but it didn't blow me away or anything, and I heard so much hype about it, and it was okay. I also watched Free Guy, the movie, and that was it was a lot of fun. It's one of those movies that you can just tell that they were having fun while filming it, and yeah, so I liked that. It was okay. And then I rewatched Enchanted. They had gotten 20 minutes into it before I came into the sitting room and continued watching it. But Enchanted, I remember seeing that in the cinema when I was so small. And I also went to Disneyland Paris the same year it came out, so everything was Enchanted themed, and I remember just loving it. It's just so cute. And I pointed out in the ballroom scene, Robert, I always go to call him Derek, and I'm like, no, Derek Shepherd is not in Enchanted. That's not how it works. But Robert, he sings to Giselle, and the whole movie he's so against singing and dancing, and he sings to her, and my sister had like a meltdown over this. And so that was very fun. And yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with TV shows and movies and all that. So I watched a lot of stuff recently, and I'm trying to get back into reading. And this has become very ranty and very repetitive. So I'm gonna try read this today. And because I love a challenge, I'm gonna try and read this whole thing tomorrow. Anxious People by Frederick Bachman, because it takes place on New Year's Eve. And it's become like a tradition for me to squeeze in one last book before the end of the year. So last year it was 12 Blind Dates. I'm not sure what is the name of it. 12 Dates of Christmas? 12 Dates of Christmas, that's what it's called. The year before was Scythe, and the year before that was Blue Lily Lily Blue. So every year I squeeze one last book in, and so this is the one I have chosen. So, and as I said, it's set in New Year's Eve, so 2 days left of the year, 2 more books to read. Will I do it? Unsure, but I'll try. Hi, so it's been a while since I've updated ye. So I showed me finishing this, I believe, which I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. And then I also showed that I finished this. I finished it on New Year's Eve, like 10 minutes before. I don't have actually a lot to say on either of them. So Dragonhaven is the second book in the Rainwell Chronicles. I'm enjoying the series, but I'm not loving it. The characters are very interesting. I do think this one objectively was better than the first, but I actually rated it lower. I mean, they were both 4 stars, but it was a lower 4 stars because the audiobook, oh my god, took me out of the story so much. Like, it was a really bad audiobook, and the formatting on it was also terrible. It's like it would stop in the middle of like a paragraph, and it's like, no, that's not where the chapter break is. So it was really annoying, but I liked a lot of aspects of the story. So like the dragons and seeing their growth in this was very interesting, and how the keepers interact with them, again, also really interesting. There was a lot of discussion about like the Rainwilders, like reproductive health and all of that, and some of it got like very uncomfortable, and some of like the characters were very like had a very like slut shamey kind of mindset nearly, whereas others were like, you know, do what you want, make your own rules. And it was just very interesting to see the different aspects of it. So a lot of different and interesting discussions. And then there was a lot of character growth. I mean, that is something Robin Hobb always does well. Some really cute relationship developments, like squealing I was. And yeah, so a lot of really interesting character developments. And I'm very interested to see where the next 2 will go, because this definitely does feel like part 2 to the first book. So, and I'm pretty sure book 3 and 4 are going to feel like that as well. They're going to be nearly like one story. And so I'm very interested, because this definitely does feel like the end of the first half of like this series. So yeah, and I can't really tell you why it is that way, but it is. And yeah, I'm really interested in continuing, but I can't really say too much because spoilers. As I said, I always like to try and squeeze one final book in before the end of the year, and this year I chose Anxious People because it says it's New Year's Eve, and that is not true. It is the day before New Year's Eve. So yeah, and I really enjoyed this, but I don't think I should have read it in one evening. It's definitely a book that you should take your time with. And so I think it could have been a 5 star if I had taken my time with it, but I still really enjoyed it. It was still a high 4 star. It was very slow to begin. That's where my enjoyment kind of went down. It was a very slow beginning, but the like second 2/3 of it, incredible. The way it ended, the characters, that is, again, another author who does absolutely incredible character work. This is now my 4th book by him, and it is probably my 3rd favourite of them. But the characters in here, again, really fascinating. There was a plot twist in the middle, and I was like, what? What? And yeah, so I was screaming. So it was really good. And like, it wasn't even in the middle, it was probably a bit before the middle. But like, at that moment, that was when like it completely changed, and it just turned into a completely different story, and I really started to love it. And it follows a bank robbery gone wrong, and they end up getting held up in an apartment viewing, and they're all there for different reasons, and it's obviously just a really character driven story. My thing with it was, I guess I thought that was going to be it. Like, it was going to follow this bank robber, and they were going to run into this apartment, and then we were going to get like them all nearly like bonding. And that's not the case, and I don't know why I thought that was the case, because as I said, it's my 4th book by him, and he loves dual timelines, or multiple, you know, and that is also the case in here. So we are actually, a lot of the time, we are following after the fact, and we are actually following the police officers who are trying to figure out what they aren't telling. And then we like flash back through, so like they'll be interviewing them, and then like the next chapter will be like a glimpse of them in the apartment. And so yeah, so I didn't expect that, and I don't know why I didn't, because as I said, he loves multiple timelines, and I do actually enjoy that way, but it took me a while to get into it because of that. But overall, I did really enjoy it. 4 out of 5 stars. And I didn't read anything on New Year's, and then yesterday I was on Cassidy Sprints. I basically did a try a chapter tag with Elantris and Spellslinger, because I got people to vote on Twitter and they voted Spellslinger, but I wasn't really feeling it. So I tried the first chapter, and I did end up continuing with Spellslinger, so I'm about halfway. Well, it's a little under, and I like it so far. I have very neutral opinions, to be honest, on it, so I can't really tell you much about it, because yeah, it's okay. That is how I'm feeling. I do, like, yeah, there is definitely some comedic aspects, but I don't think the writing isn't that good. Like, that's what people always go on about. He has such a entertaining, fast writing style, and I don't really get it. Like, I can see it a little, but it's not that big a deal. And yeah, and the characters, they're okay. I do think the plot is probably one of the strongest aspects, and which is not usually the case with YA books, and so I'm intrigued about where it's going and who is behind everything. And so I'm hoping to continue more of that this evening. And well, also I'm starting today, because I'm buddy reading with my friend Shay, is the name of all things. I'm very excited because I love the first book, but also hello everyone. So it is now Wednesday. Yes, it's Wednesday the 5th. So I have finished my lab report that was due today, and so that's all done. And so my next one isn't due until like the 22nd, though I'll start it way before then. But like, that means I have like the rest of the day to chill. I don't know, when I vlogging while on like off from college and all of that, I just forget to update, and so it's not very good. I mean, they're never very good anyway, but I feel like they're even worse. But I don't have anything to update you on. So I read the first chapter of Elantris. I'm still 169 pages into Spellslinger, and I'm now like 30 whatever pages into The Name of All Things. And I forgot how like hard it is to kind of like get into like the story of these, cause like they're so like big and thick and intimidating. And so yesterday I was reading and I was like, oh my god, I forgot how many words, because like the writing is also like pretty small. And so like that was like a good, like that was like an hour of reading. So yeah, but like I know that I speed up, because I remember like by the end of Rune of Kings I was reading like 70 pages in 45 minutes, so I know that I will pick up the pace as I get more into the story. But number one, they have a foreword in there which basically summarizes the last like end of the Rune of Kings, and I was like, thank you, because it turns out I have forgotten a lot about it. And then yeah, and like literally like on page like 7, Kieran makes a joke of like, he's like, hey, if you hear me screaming, come avenge me, and I'm like, I love you so much. So yeah, so that is all I can update you on. But Jade is currently doing her hump day sprints, and so I use those to do the lab report, you know, have lunch, have a shower, all of that. So now I have nothing else to do, so I think I'm gonna try and make a dent in this. Hi everyone, so update. I filmed a video. Can you guess what it is? It won't be up when you see this, I don't think. Also, my January schedule right now is a whole mess because I don't know when vlogs are going up. I don't know when my December wrap-up is going up. I haven't filmed it yet. I'm not sure will I? Will I just leave it? But also, I never don't do a wrap-up. So, yeah. So the struggle is real. You mightn't be getting a December wrap-up until like February. But then I'm like, also, I could just film it and put it up as a like bonus video on a Saturday at some point. I don't know. And I also have an idea because for a part 2 for the Trying to Melt My Icy Heart for Valentine's Day, which I did last year, I read a lot of romance books. I have another idea for a part 2 of that, but then I'm like, but then Polarthon is the week before Valentine's Day, and so I'll be vlogging that, and so it's like, when would I put up that one then? The Monday that is Valentine's Day would be the day that we'd be putting up the Polarthon vlog. So I'm trying to think if I'll do the Valentine's Day vlog on that day and then the Polarthon one on the 17th. But I don't know when I'm going to film and read for the other vlog. So my schedule's a whole mess right now. I need to figure it out. But right now I need to clean up these because my shelves are a complete mess and they're so ugly right now. So I need to fix them. So yeah. I'll figure it out. Also, I'm currently in the middle of 3 different books. Why? That's a good question. So I'm still 169 pages into Spellslinger. I think I might try and read it today. And then I'm also, I don't know, a couple of chapters into The Name of All Things. The second bookmark, that one. And then yesterday I wanted an audiobook, and so I put on the audiobook for Elantris. So I'm now 118 pages into this. So yeah, so what is wrong with me? So it is now the 6th. Oh yeah, it's Little Christmas today. So the decorations have to come down today. And yeah, and so I have these 3 on the go, and I was so tempted to start The Bone Witch yesterday, and I was like, what is wrong with you? A lot, clearly, but yeah, I don't have any feelings really on any of them so far, which is not good. So yeah, Spellslinger, I haven't read anything since I last updated you, and so I still have the exact same feelings. Elantris, I'm intrigued about. I'm not the biggest fan of the audiobook, but I need an audiobook right now because it seems to be the only way I'm getting through anything. So that's fun. But I am intrigued about the world and the magic. There is a religious element to it, and there's a guy who thinks he's basically the savior, and that is annoying me. If you were around when I read the Dragon Republic, you will remember my whole rant about religion in books. I'm not the biggest fan of it. And yeah, so that dude is kind of getting on my nerves a little, but the other 2 perspectives are really interesting and I'm really enjoying them. And then The Name of All Things, I'm enjoying it, but it takes a while. I kind of forgot that it takes a while to get into it, and I'm enjoying that it still has the same like style as the first book, so it's a story that is being told and written down kind of, and there's footnotes and all of that. So yeah. Good morning. So it is now Friday, and obviously I have not finished the book yet. 7 days into the year. And so I was planning on doing like a little bit of a 24-hour readathon, and then Purse announced that she was gonna do an impromptu one. So I was like, well, that works out. But it's not really gonna be a 24-hour readathon for me. it's gonna be more of like a weekend one. Like I'm gonna like try and read as much just this weekend in general. Like I'll probably do the most today, but overall, like the whole weekend, I'm planning on just like powering through some stuff. So I think I'm gonna try and finish Spellslinger today and get a good bit of Elantris maybe done by the audiobook, and then I want to have Elantris finished by the end of this weekend. Oh, that is the plan. Okay, so it is, I don't know, however, it's like 6 hours later, 7 hours later, who knows, but update, I have finally finished my first book of 2022. So Chloe, persistent bookworm, was doing sprints from like 12 o'clock, so I joined in and read the rest of this. So I was on page 169, which is I think there, yeah, so I was there, and so I read the last half of it. I think I'm giving it 3 stars overall. See, I think this year I'm not going to use CAWPILE anymore, because usually my gut instinct is right, and my gut instinct is a 3 stars. I'm not sure do I want to use CAWPILE or not. I'll think about it. I mean, I don't think she actually has the new spreadsheet up, so I'll see what the new spreadsheet is like, and I might use it. As I said, a 3 star, it was very middle of the road for me. The first 250-ish pages I thought were really boring. The only person I found even slightly interesting was Farius. I didn't care about Kellen, the main character. I was interested in the magic system. I didn't really get the writing. Like, I hear everyone always say how funny and enjoyable his writing style is, and I just didn't think there was anything that special about it. But then from like page 250 on, it really started to pick up, and I really loved it, and I just wish that like pace was kept up the whole way through, because we were finally like, you know, action was happening, the plot was like actually, you know, happening and all of this, and so it was much more enjoyable, and I did actually start to see like some of the humor come through. So yeah, so it was like that, like the last like 150-ish pages was like 4 stars, but the first 250 was actually probably like 2 stars, so I'm giving it 3 stars overall. And I will probably continue the series, but I'm not sure. I'm still gonna obviously give Trader's Blade a go. I think I will probably prefer that, hopefully. So yeah, I don't really have too much else to say, I don't think. Hello everyone. So I'm now here to wrap this up. So this was I don't know, I'm just very bad at vlogging, full stop, but I feel like this is a particularly poor quality one. But I started this on the 30th, I think, and I read a good bit in it. So I read Dragonhaven, which feels like so long ago now, and I also read Anxious People, and both of those were 4 stars. And then I also read Spellslinger, and I told you that I finished that, I believe, and I gave that 3 out of 5. And then I have now finished Elantris, so I finished my second book of 2022, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I'll talk about it now in a minute. And I'm still like 120 pages into The Name of All Things by Jen Lyons, so that's the next goal. So I finished this yesterday. I had a really good time with it. I was really struggling between giving it a 4 and a 5, but I've gone with a 4. I'm pretty confident with it. But so Elantris, it follows a world, and there was this like magical city where the people there were like gods, and then this event happened which turned them into like zombie-like creatures. So like if they, like their skin is patchy, and like if they get hurt, the pain doesn't go away. And at the start of this book, Serene has made her way to Erelon, which is like right beside Elantris, because she's there for a political marriage, and well, that doesn't work out because her husband has supposedly died, but actually he has gone to Elantris. And I really enjoyed it. There was a couple of things that I didn't love so much about it, which is why I stopped myself from giving it the 5 star, but it was like a really high 4 star for me. Warbreaker is still my favorite book by him, but this is a fairly close second. Warbreaker did like scrape into that 5 star mark though. And then The Final Empire, which The Final Empire is like 1 point off of 5 stars, so I would put like this and the Final Empire pretty even, and then it's the Well of Ascension, Hero of Ages, Skyward. And I have a lot more to read. There was a lot about this book that I really liked, and there was a lot about it that really surprised me, but overall it didn't completely like blow my mind or anything. And I think a main thing that I have with Brandon Sanderson that is like a reason why I don't think he's ever going to be a favorite author of all time for me is the religious discussions in his books. I've spoken about this not too long ago when I read The Dragon Republic. I'm just very funny about religion in books a lot of the time. It has to be done a very particular way for me to like enjoy it at all. And I don't really like the religious aspects of his books a lot of the time. Probably my favorite way he's done it was actually in Mistborn, which is actually my least favorite book of his. My least favorite series, whatever, that I've read from him so far. But I like the way that that was discussed because like there's one of the characters kind of like knows everything about basically every religion ever, and just the way like he discusses it and all of it and how it's all valid, even if, and it's like, yeah, but like some of them contradict each other. And he's like, yeah, but who cares? And so I liked that, the way it was done in that book, in those books. I don't really like reading from the point of view of like religious fanatics, which there is a point of view in here where he like sees himself as the savior because he believes in the proper God and all of this, and I don't care about it. Yeah, that's just like a very me thing. I've said that before though. And so I found myself nearly skimming those chapters, and I'd be like, wait, no, go back, you're missing stuff. But luckily those chapters were like really short. They were like only 2 or 3 pages, whereas like Serene and Raiden, they had like much longer chapters. So it wasn't like too much of a bother to me. But yeah, I didn't care about those perspectives as much. But Serene and Raiden, oh my god, I love them. And people always say that like characters is his weakest like aspect in his storytelling. And like after I read the Mistborn, I was like, yeah, I definitely see it. You know, some of the side characters feel very similar. You know, but like some of the main characters didn't have that much depth either. But like there was a couple that I liked. But Warbreaker and Elantris, I have loved the characters in here. I absolutely adored Serene and Raiden. They were such interesting, fascinating characters to me. They were so smart and well developed, and just their scheming, and there's like a romance, and I shipped it so bad, and I was like, I did not expect that when I came into this book. But yeah, I was shipping it, like, I was like, oh my god, it's so cute. I was like, what is up with it? I was like, that was not what I expected. I really love the characters, and so that was a really pleasant surprise. And I really loved their relationship. And of course, I do think this one probably has the weakest magic system of the book that I've read so far, but I was still interested in it. I do want a sequel because I do feel like a lot of stuff was kind of like left open. So things like more discussions about the magic system and a couple of plot threads that were like left, you know, a little unfinished. Like there's definitely a lot that could be done in a sequel, and so I do hope eventually there will be one. I mean, there's supposed to be, but like, will there be? I can't really think of anything else. I enjoyed the plot. I enjoyed the like political scheming and all of that. I do think that like the first half was fairly slow, which I didn't mind too much because like I was enjoying like learning about the world and how it works enough to keep me going. But it was a little slow, so just as a warning. And yeah, I overall, I really enjoy this. So a really high 4 out of 5 stars. And I don't know what I'm going to read next. So I've now read the Mistborn trilogy, Warbreaker, and Elantris. So I think I might start on Mistborn Era 2. Can you tell that I'm just putting off the Stormlight Archives because they're humongous? So that brings us to the end of this. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.